with the sponsors EIAAI, GLOFA, Evercity, the Climate Change Coalition, and the Rotary at COP30 Committee and ESLAC, the Environmental and Sustainability Rotary Action Group of Rotary International. What we're doing here today is what will take very long time to do, which is launching a club. Launching a club is like accepting a new friend in your circle, and that friend will become not only your friend, but your buddy, your partner in service. And for that, we have a distinguished group of Rotarians here, and I need to first apologize because our governor, Jose Leonardo, for very sad reasons, he could not be here. He had a nephew that was involved in a traffic accident. He needed to go back to the interior, to Palauperas, a city here in Panama. So here we have the president-elect, the president 2025-26 of Rotary International, former director, former trustee, Mario Cesar Martínez y Camargo, and we have the past president of Rotary Club of Bonn International, Paul DeSanker, who is also our host. No, how can I define this for? You are the guys that are running these talks. UNFCCC Secretary. And among yourselves, we have local actors, we have Rotarians, we even have background music. So Diego, you have some competition again today. And let's get the session going. I will pass the floor to Mario to explain what is the launching of a new Rotary Club. Nobody better than you to give us a sense of what it is. Please explain, please relate your Rotary curriculum a little bit and where you got started to Rotary up to now.
Good afternoon everyone for watching. Thanks for being here with us. I started Rotary right after I came back from the States. I was an exchange student in Minnesota in the far year of 74, 75. Most of you were not even born, and I was already an exchange student. Salvador was 1 year old. I was already 18, so I started very early. I joined Rotary when I was 23, and went up all the way to become president-elect. And unfortunately, for personal reasons, I had to step down. But I continue the Rotary work regardless of positions, because I think more important than the position you hold is the result that you deliver. To create a new club is like having a new kid bear a new child. It requires a lot of time, it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of connections, it requires a lot of convincing. We have a good product, but sometimes our product is not well understood. We have to make sure that we are inducting a member that's worthwhile belonging to the institution. So the selection process is fundamental to the quality of a Rotary Club. Some people ask me, Mario, this club was chartered based on a political challenge. It's doomed. Nothing good can come out of a bad beginning. If you don't begin your club right, with the right philosophy, with the right members, with the right connections and fellowship, you are doomed. You are not going to survive for too long. I've seen it happen all over the globe. And that is quite common. We hurry up the process of charting a new club, maybe to meet a district governor's goal. I had for this year, 25-26, a very bold target. I wanted every single assistant governor to charter a new club, provided that they would meet the quality that we need. If you're going to charter a club that doesn't meet the quality standards, don't do it. You're bound to have problems in the future. So I think this is the main challenge. Identify the local needs and opportunities and establish the connections with the right people. I have 3 axes planned for year 25-26. Innovation, continuity, and partnership. Why? Innovation because we have an aging population in Rotary. Our average age in Rotary today is 62 years. Average. So we are aging 1 year at a time. We are not growing any younger. Nobody. That's unescapable. We cannot escape from time. So we are aging and we must innovate to bring new members in. And to be able to meet that, we have to resort to different club formats. Because not everyone is interested in joining a club that requires a meeting at the local restaurant every Wednesday evening. It doesn't meet because Wednesday evening you are in your college, you are teaching, you are with your wife in some other activity. You are traveling because you are an executive for a company. So we have to reflect and make it flexible for members to be part of the Rotary Club. This model includes, for instance, a satellite club, which is the club that we are talking about right now. A satellite club has all the red tape, the bureaucracy that is demanded from Edison, from our headquarters, and yet it's flexible enough to do what is important, which is to deliver service to the community and to connect people for their own profit or for the profit of somebody else, meaning somebody that needs our assistance. And I don't want to monopolize the talk, but I'll just tell you a story to make clear what I mean. I think talking is important, but doing is a lot more important. So when I was director in 2021, I challenged my own club. My own club is a very traditional club, 1949. 105 members strong. Very good project, ongoing, permanent project to the local community. Very well established, financially sound, good connection, women into the club, different age brackets from 80 to 35. However, I challenged my club to set up a satellite club. I was a director, so I had a powerful voice. You asked me, no, Mario, a satellite club is a second-grade club. Second quality. We are first quality. I said, okay, but my wife, and your husband would like to meet in a different manner. They have been invited to join our club and they've never accepted because they have other priorities in life. They have other chores to care for. we would like to initiate a club that's more flexible, that's more fun, less formal, less protocol. They like to gather in a pizza place and have fun and call somebody from the community to initiate the project. So reluctantly, after 1.5 years of evangelizing, wow, talking to the old guys table. I belong to the old guys table. So I was talking to my peers. They said, you guys have to open up your mind. There's a new model. This is not the only working model. So they said, okay, before we decline our membership, we're going to adopt the model. My wife's club today has 50 members. So we are 155 members strong, and my club has guaranteed continuity. Because even if the old guys like myself go to talk to Paul Harris in person, our continuity is guaranteed. And I've seen so many clubs die because people don't want to change, because they don't want to innovate. They want to think outside of the box. Their model is the only right model. That is a sure recipe for death. That's why I'm here today.
So now we have Paul Sanker, who is a past Rotary Club president, but also a person that knows a lot about the theme, because as Mara said, this is a satellite club that is migrated to be a passport club, global, on climate action issues. So, Paul, you are in between the two. You are a savvy Rotarian and also a savvy professional in climate action. What's your take on a club of this nature? What do you recommend? What are your guidelines, if you will, for a new Rotary club in climate action?
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be part of this great initiative. I've been working and supporting this process for the last 20 years. And one thing for sure is that we have advanced in the way that we think about climate change, especially adaptation, and the importance of going down to the local level. So that last mile of action, we're talking about big money here in the corridors, money that we essentially go to governments. The biggest challenge has always been how do you get that money down to the local level where the vulnerable people need it. And we are setting up a lot of modalities to allow that to happen. Rotary works at the community grassroots level, and I think that's where the great opportunity for Rotary is to take care of that last mile and participate in these global events, the global agenda and so forth. Adaptation is not something of the future anymore, and I think that we all accept and realize now that adaptation is for now. We're talking about money that will start to flow 5-10 years from now, but the cost of adaptation is not something that countries will forgo. Somebody is paying right now. They either pay through loss of income, loss of production, living with their own lives. So I think the opportunity is there now, I think, to intervene and help communities deal with climate change, cope with it. And the fact that Rotary operates at the community level across the world, I think it's a great opportunity to reach out to everyone. Everybody that we meet in the corridors are very happy to interact with each other, but then you wait 6 months until you come back to the next big conference. So a satellite club like this offers that opportunity to continue this fellowship while we're actually doing good things. So I look forward very much to publicizing this event and making sure that we get as many members as possible. There's a lot of interest out there, and I think the opportunity is there to be captured. And I hope that if we grow in numbers just in a matter of weeks, we should get hundreds of members, and I'm hoping to create a lot of sub-clubs all over the world, depending on time zones, obviously, that we can start to address our last mile. Funding and opportunities to support the work is there. I think that so we do need to look at the detail of how do we correctly find entry points into partnerships that will result in useful projects all over. So Rotary is there, I think, to show the way and to help communities and business people and so forth take advantage of the service model that Rotary has to actually achieve good results. I look forward to a very successful
Of course, we have these two distinguished Rotarians here, but in Rotary we are all Rotarians, and the ones that are also coming actually are the very important ones. We say that in a Rotary club, the happiest day of a Rotary club is when a new member comes in. So we are, for Chartering Club, we are multiple times happy of bringing Miroslav, of bringing Soul, of bringing Steve, of bringing Tom, of bringing Jim. Your name is so difficult to pronounce. I promise that among the fellows of the Rotary Club, we need to know every one of us by the first name, which is a tradition in Rotary. Diego has been waiting for opportunity to become a real Rotarian. You know, this guy has been invited to a satellite club on Mars. He has been invited to a club on environment. And now he's been invited as a club of connection. But he's a cellist. And we have a bunch of people of music here. And then we have other people that are inspirational for us. And I want a word from my partner in the committee that made possible the participation of ESRAC. From the Rotary side, from the ESRAC side, my dear friend and fellow Salvador Rico. Salvador, come here. Come here. Salvador is an inspiration. You can tell us why he's a Rotary. Why we're here, Salvador?
I'm just a simple Rotarian, that's all. Why are we here? Because we care about the environment. We have reached a lot of challenges. We overcame a lot of challenges to be able to make it happen. And I want to say thank you to Miros, to the organization Glocha for being so patient and working with us on this challenge here. But I want to share just a small story of why I'm a Rotarian. In 2007, I was invited to join Rotary. And the gentleman that came over to me, he says, "You know about Rotary?" I said, "Of course I do. I know that there are Mazda cars, the XR7 that has the Rotary engine in it." That's what you're talking about, right? I said, no. Rotary International, they dedicate themselves at that time, and still is, the flagship is polio eradication. I said, really? How can I help you? I want to join that. He says, I haven't even told you the whole thing. How come you want to join? I said, because my older sister died of polio. So any organization in the world that is helping eradicate polio, we want to help them. But later, I found out that polio expands and it gets spread through feces, through sewage, through dirty water, rivers. And that's how I became involved in doing river cleanup projects in 2009, way before we had the environment as the area of focus in Rotary International. And I shared with Mario yesterday, I shared with Alberto, I'm no stranger to challenges. When I did presentations about the environment in many different Rotary clubs from 2009 up until 2021, there were times actually I was asked to leave because they didn't care about the environment. But I didn't see it as a bad thing. I saw it as an opportunity to educate them, to share with them the importance of taking care of the environment. And slowly a lot of people changed their views and started doing environment projects, started sponsoring us. Many of them actually donated for us to be here. So, I commend all of you for being here. Again, thanks again to Guacha, Neros, to this guy over here, which I could not bring you the pin, the Paul Harris pin, because he didn't arrive. It's in California. I was going to present him a certificate of Paul Harris Fellow +4, but you have it. I'll send it to you via the mail. But as a recognition of all the hard work, the gentleman over here lost a lot of hair, as you can see. He was full all the way to here up until we started doing this track. So don't worry, buddy. Well, thank you, everybody.
Let's go to a second round. How, from the Rotary perspective, we got to this point? See, we talk about how a club gets started, what are the driving principles, some inspirational stories, and guess what? Rotary is about inspiration, right? We're inspired. We inspire each other to serve. Now, let's talk a little bit about the area of focus. We call it area of focus of the cause of the environment and how it got started. Mario, you were involved in this. So please tell us from the leadership perspective, how come we became so late in Rotary, 120 years old, after 1992 conference in Rio that was explained to all society what sustainability was about. How come Rotary only 10 years ago was coming into considering environment as an area of focus?
There's a little bit of history that's interesting. There was a Brazilian Rotary International president, 1990, 1991, 1 year before Rio 92. His name was Paulo Viriato Correa da Costa. He was from Santos, Brazil, and he had a program called Preserve Planet Earth. I'm talking about 1990. The environment was not even an issue. Not many people were thinking of environment in 1990. This guy was a visionary. And he had a program called Preserve Planet Earth, which incentivized trees, growing new trees. When I became a trustee at the Rotary Foundation in 2015, I said, why don't we revive, why don't we renew that Preserve Planet Earth program with the focus on environment? I'm talking about 2015. So a group of trustees of the Rotary Foundation, which is the organization that holds the money, the real money is with the Rotary Foundation. They said, yeah, let's talk about environment. We could feel a growing pressure from the clubs. We then had 6 areas of interest, which we call areas of focus. Literacy or illiteracy, microeconomics, economics at family level, disease prevention and treatment, child and maternal health. We had peace, peace scholars like Diego. And we had a 6th area of focus, I cannot remember right now. We had 6 areas of interest. which received the money from the Rotary Foundation to fund projects. So we started discussing about environment. Oh, water and sanitation, which gave birth to the environment. But in the Rotary Foundation, we don't do anything based on feelings. We have to do some research. We have to do some inquiry with the Rotarians. So what we did is we did an inquiry with 1,500 people online. Not too extensive. Rotarians, Rotaractors, young, soon-to-be Rotarians, people outside of Rotary in our age, 30 plus, and younger people who have never heard of Rotary 30 under. So those were the core audiences. And the question was, if you were to join a non-profit organization, what would be the main area of interest in this organization that would attract you? Out of the 4 answers, very expected, Rotarians voted for polio, because that's our corporate program. The other 3 audiences voted for environment, including Rotary. So I said, well, this is the science, these are the data that we need to formulate, to substantiate our area of focus. So we started discussing. It was approved by the Board of Trustees and eventually by the Board of Directors. So that's the history behind the add-on, the inclusion of environment as an area of focus for the Rotary Foundation. We already have the expertise, we have the Washrag team that is moving those who are interested into SRAC, Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, to provide content, to provide knowledge, to provide connection. So this is the history behind the adoption of the 7th area of focus of Rotary, having the interest in the environment. We see a growing interest from clubs, and I think the next step is to incorporate environment issues into the other areas of focus. For instance, does environment have to do with literacy? Does environment connect with education? Does environment connect with microeconomics? Does environment connect with water and sanitation? So I think this is the next step moving forward. How we're going to add on some environmentally connected, environmentally club questions when you define a project. If a project has environmental impact, Rotary Foundation do not care about it. Was not even into the analysis. I think it's being considered now. Whatever you're doing with the project and receiving dollars from the Rotary Foundation, environment is being considered a factor to be thought, to be pondered, to be analyzed. I thought I would give you that information so you know where all this came from.
So in the same thread of thought, how will climate action come into the other areas of focus, Paul?
I think one of the most recent developments is to look at climate spreading. It is no longer just an environmental issue. It actually, as Mario said, connects with water, sanitation, health, and everything else. And that's the approach that governments are starting to take now. This is how climate change actually impacts on economic development, social development, environment, and so forth. So there is every attempt to look at programming and actions that have multiple benefits beyond simply adapting to climate change. So a lot of people don't go to bed worrying about whether climate is changing or not. They worry about, am I going to have enough food tomorrow? Am I going to be healthy tomorrow? And so forth. So climate change is obviously a major risk factor, it's a major cause of concern, but it also provides opportunities to tap into resources and activities that perhaps will not be available to most of the rural and vulnerable communities. So there is a lot of effort to try to reach the most vulnerable, and we have programs that at the global level target the most vulnerable countries. In this case, these are the least developed countries. There are 44 of them in the world. Most of them are in Africa, like some of these Pacific Islanders and the Tree Asia and so forth. We also target within that indigenous communities, local communities, etc., that are not perhaps as well connected to government flows of finance. So there are multiple layers of classification of who's most vulnerable and who deserves to be assisted. And the world is responding by creating opportunities that address that, but also create social development. And I think that's what we're all about, is to ensure that everybody creates those opportunities for themselves, livelihoods improve, fathers and grandfathers like some of us to see their kids grow up and then become useful citizens and contribute to society. So the value system is gradually shifting towards ensuring that there's equity, that there's justice for everybody, that there's considerations and so forth into the work that we do. So Rotary, I think, will naturally embrace all of this and put that into action by focusing on the local level and the welfare of everybody, one person at a time. We can't solve the global problem all at once, but we can do what we can and gradually build out to the course of action that we can see.
So we heard how we transitioned from humanitarian service, how all these things are connected, the story how we got environment, and now we are trying to get climate action into our humanitarian service. But there is one piece of Mario's priorities. He said, in order for making Rotary relevant and grow, we need to have partnerships, continuity, and we need to have innovation. There are many forms of innovation, but I want to invite somebody in particular to talk about innovation, digital innovation at the service of climate action. And as you have heard in some of the press conferences here that we have held on behalf of the pavilion, the last mile, the humanitarian side. But the digital innovation, how does the digital innovation come into Rotary? I want to hear that from one of our new Rotarians into this club, Miro Paulsen.
So thank you very much, Alberto. Dear Rotarians, we are delighted, fellow Rotarians, we are delighted to welcome you here at this Digital Innovation Pavilion. This Digital Innovation Pavilion is a space for digital solution providers to bring solutions, and that we all together see how we can accelerate the effective response to global challenges. And here, of course, briefly, digital innovation, digital public infrastructure, which is our focus. It's about identities, digital self-sovereign identities that we are planning to develop, global challenges action registries, geospatial tools, digital finance tools. And for us, having here Rotary, really this powerful force for the common good on the local and global level, is really a blessing. It's a big opportunity, and I think that if we work together we can cross-pollinate, we can really help create synergies, and because Rotary is a decentralized system, and it's very difficult for a Rotarian in a certain place to know what is happening, sometimes even 100 kilometers away in different club or so. And if we set up these digital identity systems, share the standards for reporting and getting verified and documented and certified action for climate or other SDGs, and we put it in the Global Changes Action Registry, then this is information resource, and with blockchain technology we can handle it that people then, they remain the owners of the data. They say with who they want to share the data. But in general, the opportunity we have that we really then know as a global community who is doing what, where, how, with what kind of activities, what kind of resources, and what kind of outcomes. And with this kind of information system, information ecosystem, we as global community can really respond as like an organism to the challenges of our time. And one element which is also very important are resources, and here I also count that we will work together on the joint resource mobilization, because we need to bring to the local level action resources from the global level. There's the Green Climate Fund, there are global philanthropy resources like the Giving Pledge. Bill Gates, he said he will distribute $200 billion within the next 20 years. But if there is not this capillary system, some kind of mycelium, somehow the nerve systems down to the local level, then the money is not flowing. And people on the ground, they are doing great work, but they are under-resourced and sometimes self-exploiting or so. But we have to prepare livelihoods for those who are caring for the common good. And with digital public infrastructure, we will work with Rotary and with other partners. Sol was also here. She is also part of these who are going to develop solutions. There's also the TFFF, these Trees for the Future Forever Fund. There will be 10 billion, I think, are pledged now. In the future it will be 100 billions, and we need to channel the money down to the guardians of the forest, indigenous people or whoever it is, and this will only function with digital innovation. And the opportunities are huge, and together we are strong.
Mario, how do we get those partnerships that Miro is talking about?
I think we have a good example with the Gates Foundation. My only concern is that we don't have a Gates Foundation. My greatest challenge would be, and I was always asking the board of directors, the board of trustees, which is the next Gates Foundation for us? We shouldn't be limited to just one partner. What was the Gates Foundation looking for when they partnered with us 15 years ago? More, almost 20 years ago. They were looking for accountability. They have the money, but they don't have the people that we have. I was in a debate with, as a trustee, a similar debate like this with our partners in 2017 at the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta, Georgia. And partners on the table, Paul, were the chair of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, the UNICEF, the WHO, the Gates Foundation. At that time, we didn't have the Gavi Alliance as our partner. So I asked the Gates Foundation chair, the CEO, who happened to be a woman at that time, and I asked her, I said, why do you give us $100 million every year? You could give it to anybody else. There are lots of people, lots of government, lots of agencies, lots of programs. Why do you give it to us? And she said, because I don't have 1.2 million volunteers. You guys work for free. And I know that people that work for free, they are accountable for the money that I give you. You don't want to see any waste because you are not getting any financial benefit out of the money that I give you. Because you work for free. You're volunteers. I cannot pay with the billions of dollars that I have in my coffers. I cannot pay for 1.2 million volunteers. Work hours. So I thought that was a very smart question and brought on me a reflection of saying, our real asset is not the money. Our asset is the people that we have. The credibility that precedes us. You know, we have not been involved in any major scandal of money laundering, money malfeasance, financial malfeasance or financial wrongdoing. We've not done that. And that has brought us here to merit to be the recipient of a $100 million donation every single year. Make no mistake, they audit us. They don't take it for granted that we are utilizing the money wisely and properly. The Rotary Foundation has an audit system by itself, but they audit us also. And they audit UNICEF, they audit WHO, they audit every single partner, which is the recipient of our money. And we have been honoring that donation for the last almost 20 years. So, this is what they're looking for. Credibility, accountability, responsibility, and results. They keep track of our results. They monitor the data. They supply the information. They know what the last enclaves of polio virus are in Afghanistan, down to the village level. They monitor the data with us. Transparency, a key element when you're establishing a partnership. And that's what I thought, then as President-elect, that we should bring, given those positive traits, positive aspects that we have, why don't we have more partners like the Gates Foundation? Gates is not the only one who has a lot of money. We just came across the Hewlett Foundation and the Packard Foundation. HP Hewlett-Packard, you know, the founders of the company have two separate institutions that have a lot more money than the Rotary Foundation does. We take great pride, duly take great pride, because we have amassed $2.025 billion US in assets. Gates Foundation has 45 billion. Harvard has 45 billion. The Emirate of Dubai, has a foundation that's worth 10 billion US. Why don't we partner with them? That was my question. So, I think it's our challenge to replicate the formula that has worked with the Gates Foundation, which is a reference, a good reference for movement. That's it. Cole, what about the climate funds?
how would the climate funds, in your opinion, as a Rotarian, and a person that knows about this, how the climate funds could accept Rotary clubs, districts, SREC as a partner for doing some of the things that we already do to bring climate action to communities, but through Rotary clubs with a helping hand. Well, how do you think is that possible? How could it happen?
That's a very good question. Funds will never generate enough money to address the adaptation needs of countries. But what they do is to set the standard, the best practice on how to do adaptation, how have you set up the institutional arrangements and the funding arrangements and so forth, and create the initial seed money that can be blended with other sources. So there is an increasing attempt to see how to multiply that money with private sector contributions and local sources and so forth. So the way, perhaps one way to do it is to look at opportunities where the climate funds provide the methodologies, the approaches on how to address the problem, the initial seed money, and perhaps the guarantees that involve other partners that will come in and scale up that funding. I think the period of grants from the international community is perhaps gradually disappearing. So what we're seeing is there's a lot of blendings, there's a lot of mix of different sources, some grant money, some concessional lending, but there's a whole field of innovative finance where we're trying to see as many actors as possible to come up with new ways of creating capital for the projects that we're doing. Rotary, the fact that we're available at the local level in a large number of countries, I think provides opportunities to create perhaps an executing entity for some of those projects. Rotary will perhaps not be able to go directly and access money, but in partnership with regional and international organizations, UN and so forth, there are lots of possibilities perhaps to partner and create projects that provide that initial seed and then we can multiply it with other sources of funding. So I hope that we're going to find ways in which at the regional level, at the country level, we can find partners and are able to access international funds and then partner with them to execute on the ground, especially reaching the people at the community level.
Okay. Also, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So Rotary could be useful.
I believe so. I mean, the fact that you work at the local level, I think that's where the whole system is trying to achieve, is to create all this money, channel it through multiple actors, and eventually reach the people at the grassroots level. Okay. And Rotary is there. So I think that's the connection we need to cultivate and find a way to make it work.
Excellent. Any Rotary Club meeting at the end has the opportunity for all the fellows to speak, to ask questions, to expose, to do some exposition about any subject related or not to the themes that we are addressing here. I want to open the floor to you, the new Rotarians of the Rotary Club of Climate Action, to ask any questions to these gentlemen, to these great fellows. Shedaya? Oh, I got it right.
So I'm looking at this, and the Brazilian government, when they have the G20 president to their pilot, they've really been championing bioeconomy, and we're talking about synergies between the conventions, especially when they're saying that companies and communities are at the forefront of implementation. How is there not an opportunity now to not just focus on climate action, but also bring the real convention so that we can drive a more holistic approach when it comes to driving interventions, but also resource mobilization? So I think that's a question to all of you, to say, can we not leverage? Can we not be more efficient? Thank you.
That's a good question. I think the opportunities are there to cultivate any opportunity to mobilize financing. I think the challenge is always what Mario referred to, accountability. So we have to make sure that there are systems in place in the communities we work with that are able to receive money, account for it, as well as actually produce results. It's easier said than done, and I think there's quite a large amount of money that flows into communities. Some of it results in outputs, gets lost along the way. I think the opportunity now is to create those arrangements, those governance systems down to the local level to be able to receive money and spend it and account for it, to assure giving the money that this is money that we're not just throwing away, but it's actually money that will result in the intended benefits. The various levels of funding, obviously, there's quite huge amounts of money that flow, and then those are harder to actually spend and quantify. But at the community level, I don't think we need to pour hundreds of millions of dollars at once. I think we do need to gradually scale up that amount of money to create the capacity to absorb and turn money into useful benefits. What we see at these meetings is a proliferation of initiatives that are launched. Everybody wants to create a collaboration of multiple actors and so forth. At the end of the day, it just creates an increase of the complexity for poor communities to access funding. And you're going to hear a lot of complaints from developing countries about the complexity of accessing money. It's not so much that money is not available, but to access it, it does take 2, 3 to 5 years to write, fill out forms, etc., and account for it. So we do need to find easy ways of accessing money, spending it, accounting for it. Once you show results, more money comes. I think that the example of the Gates Foundation is that if they didn't keep giving money to Rotary if they were not assured of the quality of the service, the quality of results from the money that they've been given. I think once you show and demonstrate that you're able to use money effectively, more and more money comes forth.
Thank you, Paul. Any other questions? Any other? Saul?
I have just a quick question. Do you believe that the UNFCCC or the official system is open to digital innovation and technologies that might help to close the gap or accelerate the allocation of funds, the process? And if so, could maybe possibly members of the Digital Innovation Pavilion and partners through here be able to have a pathway to present ideas that they might not be aware of, that we might be able to either bring their attention to or develop? Thank you.
We have a very wide open system where different actors come and present ideas to other parties and so forth. And I think it's a no-brainer that digitalization is the way to enable quite a large range of services and development. So I think it's wide open. I think most of the developing world is trying to get into the digital world, applying mobile phones and so forth, but it's bigger than that. And in terms of everybody being registered and accounted for, it enables a whole range of services. So there's no question about it. I think we do need to scale it up to a point where now everybody has access to digital tools and they're not left behind. So it's a no-brainer.
Excellent. We have one more question, one more opportunity. Domenico.
So I recall to the last sentence that's been saying, leave no one behind. So it's a comment more than a question. I'm very happy that today Rotary has launched this Rotary Club for Climate Action, because Rotary needs to be climate action, but as well climate action needs Rotary. And I will explain why. Here we are talking about climate and so on and so forth, but we have always to remember, leave no one behind. sometimes talking about ecological transition and climate transition, we can run into too much technocratic discussion. Indeed, Rotary can bring the point of view of the philanthropy and the point of view of more human-centric transition, and I want to say not anthropocentric, okay, human-centric. It means that we have to consider the most disadvantaged people that are the also one most different. And so I really thank the effort that we are doing, Alberto, Mario, and Paul, because again, I will start as I will finish as I start. Rotary needs to be in climate action, but climate action needs also Rotary. Thank you.
Yeah, like I would say, besides people, our second asset, people and credibility, given 120 years of history that we have. The other asset that we must sell is ubiquity. We are everywhere. We are not God. We are very close. We are in 45,000 outlets spread around the world. Tell me one single institution that reaches out for 45,000 different outlets in the world with the same unified message. I partner every time I went as president-elect to talk to government. They said, we need you because you have clubs where we don't reach. You are in southern Italy. You are in Uganda. You are in Brazil. You are in Southwest USA. You are in Belgium. You are in India. I visited places in India which I never dreamt of. But is there a Rotary Club here? No, the countryside in India. Not Delhi, not Mumbai, but Madurai, in the heart of the country. So we bring value to the equation. We bring worth. We are worth something because we can reach people with a single message. Not even governments sometimes succeed in doing that. I think this is what we bring to the table, besides people and credibility. It has come the moment of truth. The question is simple. After what you have heard, who is convinced that you want to be part of the Rotary Club of Climate Action? Raise your hands. Not the arts, your hands. Mario, I think we have quorum. We have quorum because the minimum number for being part of the Rotary Club of Climate Action is 8. I had to count Saul was also very committed, and Steve and Miguel. So I guess we have more than 8. So welcome to the new club, the Rotary Club of Climate Action. If you can stay in a chair for 1 hour listening to 2 Rotarians, you are qualified. But in any Rotary meeting, we end up with a program, and we ran out of time. Do we have another session?
We have 1 at 6.
Okay. So we have about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we wanted to present all of you to offer a gift to you, the gift of music, of our peace fellow Diego Carneiro,
And Diego, I don't want to introduce you. I want you to introduce yourself and what you have been doing in Ecuador, in Belém, in Ecuador, and in other places with the partnership with Rotary, but also what Diego has been doing in Amazon. And I invite Paul and Mario to be part of the floor so we can hear Diego. And please don't go away because we need to take the picture.
Hi, thank you very much, Alberto and Mira, for the opportunity. And it's been really an honor for me to be part of today's first session, I believe, of the club. And it's an honor also to meet again Mario, who's here in the lane where I come from. And I will play to you a piece that is inspired in the Amazon region. I played something similar last time. I was born here, therefore I was inspired to do something about my region through music. Music can be like if you see the Amazon River, you have many branches or creeks, but you say arms, leaves, we say arms in Portuguese. Music can be like that in different ways as a solution for many conflicts and problems that humanity has. I created the Amazon Arts many years ago, and we brought many volunteers here, many people to work together to support the region. Then I created Orchestrating Peace in Florida with Friends Rotarians, and Friends of Music in the Americas with some Rotaries in DC. And then I became a Rotary Peace Fellow, and I finished this year my studies in peace building and conflict resolution at Makerere University in Uganda. Uganda? Yeah, good. So, yeah, my home Uganda. But through Rotary and as a peace fellow and musician, I've been in many countries this year. India, 1.5 months, Sri Lanka, Emirates, Africa, in different places, Canada, etc. So, apart of playing the cello, I've been creating many opportunities, I think, a bridge between a poet's dimension to a more emotional dimension. And that's very important because it's the way we connect to people and actually have the right attitude to make decisions, in my opinion. We find common grounds that we can work together. Every time I played here, we had some people singing there. I don't know if that's you manage that, right? You are about to arrange that. What should I do, Mira? Do you still have like, I cannot stop, right? I can't, I'm not stop, but wait for, should I wait?
What we can do. Last time we tried to ask them to lower down, they didn't really do.
Right.
But now it's lower.
It's slowing down, right? Yeah, okay. So what I thought of playing to you, I've got a piece that I got a prize in actually Calgary this year. It's called the Amazonian Elegy. It talks about some endangered species from the Amazon and the legend. So I'm gonna make it quick for you to make it short version. I will play a short version too. For me, if you go around the Amazonian islands, you can find the water, you can feel the water. You feel like, and for me, I realized that sound, when you're silent, you can feel the water like this. So I imagine myself navigating the water in the sound. Then
I have got 3 birds that I call Uinapuru, Antbird, and the Toucan. But I also have the jaguar, which integrates the whole symphony and brings a bit of drama and also a dimension of fear. But then we've got the boto, which it's the pink dolphin from the Amazon region. And that's a legend that you can find in different ways, variations in the Amazon. Like Brazil has 90-something% of the Amazon. Ecuador, where I have a foundation, has 1% and has the biggest biodiversity per square meters. Sorry, my English sometimes confuses with my Portuguese. So the legend goes that a fish comes from the dolphin comes out of the river. A tall man comes out, like me, tall man, like Mario and Alberto. I wish I could be that size one day. But in any case, it comes and enchants people, women in that case. And the ladies, they get pregnant and they say, in the short version, Father, I'm pregnant, so the father says, you have to leave home. And then she says, it is the boto, it is the dolphin, the pink dolphin. So the whole idea of dancing together, it enchants. It's a very magical, mysterious story. I will try to reproduce. So please keep with me here imagine we are in the silence mode. So I'm gonna play that for you through the cello. It's a very good, I improvise using those bird calls.
but it seems, I think, I'm not sure if you know that piece, but in Rotary, I play quite often this piece. That's let be there peace on earth. Let there peace be on earth.
Muito bom. Finalizou com Arriba Rússia, Aquarela do Brasil. Bom, fellows, this marks the end of our session. We don't want to leave here without a group picture, which is going to go into the websites of ESRAC, of the pavilion, and of course the partner club, the sponsor club, Rotary Club Brazil International. We thank you for being here. Thank you, Mario, for your prestigious presence. Thank you, Paul, for all your support, all what you do for all of us from the Secretariat, and of course from Rotary Bond International. And thank you to everybody. Oh, by the way, we have Rotaractors here. We have our Rotex. You know what Rotex is? She's a returning exchange student, and this is the way they dress. They bring their blazer with all the pins. That is a tradition in the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. Where do you go to do your exchange? Japan? Oh, Germany. Germany. You are from? South Africa. You see, about 8,000 of cats is your name, 8,000 cats around the world. Every year they do an exchange program. So you're our really pride for the Rotarians and Rotaractors, and we are so glad to see a Rotex coming into a Rotary Club. Thank you very much. Don't go away without being here for taking the picture with President Mario and with Paul. Come on guys, let's take a picture.
Super happy faces, okay?